Gary Vitti here, head athletic trainer with the Lakers for 32 years, and you're listening to Byron Scott's podcast, Lucky You.
Back. Another episode of Byron Scott's Fast Break. Jason Wagers, Coach Byron Scott, and today,
special guest.
Special true legend.
Special guest.
Behind the scenes of the NBA greatness for over 3 decades, he was the head athletic trainer for the LA Lakers, spanning the Showtime dynasty, Shaq Kobe three-peat era, the rise of Black Mamba himself. He's seen it all, treated it all, and knows what greatness really looks like. A guy who has thrown ice bags and heat packs at me. As somebody I consider my other father growing up, Gary Vitti is joining the podcast today.
Thanks, guys.
Gary V.
Gary V. Thank you, man, for joining us.
I appreciate the kind words. I know the other stuff's coming. So, okay. The legend thing, I've always had sort of an issue with because I don't see myself that way. But the truth is that I did work with a lot of legends.
Yeah.
Okay?
When you were part of it.
One sitting right there.
Yeah, you were a part of it.
Kind of legendary in your own right.
Well, because I was with you guys.
Back in his own right, back in the day.
I was with you guys.
Yeah, he did some legendary shit back in the day. Yeah.
He was a buffer. Like things that I didn't want to see, he saw.
He saw.
Yeah.
Hey, Gary V, he saw some shit you did want to see.
I wish I saw.
Yeah, exactly. He saw that too.
Okay, well, we're talking about legends. Gary, you started with the Lakers in the 80s. Tell us what it was like joining the Lakers during that time.
Yeah, it's almost indescribable. And it might be odd for you to hear and your audience to hear that I was not completely enamored with working in the NBA. I had already worked for the Utah Jazz for a couple of years as an assistant, and they were really bad. Okay, I mean, they were really bad. There's good people there, you know, Frank Layden and
God rest his soul.
and other really good people, but the team itself was bad. And so I had an inside look at the NBA. You know, the travel schedule was horrendous. I had finished my master's. I was in graduate school at the University of Utah, and I was real happy there. I was a football trainer. I wasn't working basketball, and they were good. They had Danny Vrains and Tom Chambers and Pace Mannion.
Yeah.
I mean, we were good in those days. But the Jazz were looking for some part-time help. You know, maybe a younger athletic trainer than what was there, and not just with the Jazz, but kind of generally through the league. There was a lot of old school athletic trainers at the time. And so they called the university and, you know, they sent me. And so I went down there and got a bird's eye look at what was going on and the travel schedule and this and that. And by that time I was working on my PhD. And what I really wanted to do was be a college professor. You know, I really thought that was a racket. You know what I mean? You get tenure and you're good, you know? Okay. And you know, I was already published and I wanted to publish more, and I was into the science of everything. And then I get a call. The catalyst for my arrival is all about Bill Burka.
Yeah.
Okay. Because Bill Burka, for those that don't know, is truly legendary.
Yeah.
He is a legend. Mm-hmm. And I think he's still alive, and I think he's about 97, 98 years old right now. And he was the first general manager of the New Orleans Jazz. And he hired Elgin Baylor as their first coach. He made the deal to bring Pistol Pete to New Orleans. And they moved in 1979 from New Orleans to Salt Lake City. From the New Orleans Jazz became the Utah Jazz. And I met Bill when I started working for the Jazz. Fast forward, they fired Westhead. They hired Pat Riley. Now Pat needs an assistant because Pat was the assistant. Now he's the head guy. So now that chair is open. Because in those days, there was 2 coaches. The third coach was really the advanced scout.
Yeah.
Right.
You know? I mean, it's crazy what it is today.
Right.
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
Now, Pat calls Bill. Bill leaves the Jazz and goes to the Lakers. Fast forward 2 more years, they're looking for a head athletic trainer. Burka tells Jerry West and Pat Riley, you ought to talk to this guy that used to work for the Jazz, and he was at the University of Utah working on his PhD. He's up at the University of Portland now. And I get a call from Jerry West, Mary Lou Liebach, remember?
Yeah, Mary Lou. Oh my God, love Mary Lou.
Yeah.
And says, Jerry West and Pat Riley want to talk to you about being the head athletic trainer for the Lakers. I think almost any other team, other than maybe the New York Knicks, because I grew up 40 miles from Madison Square Garden, Red Holzman and all that. And I probably wouldn't have been that interested, but it was the Lakers, And so I said, sure, I'll come down and talk to you. And they sent me a first class ticket. I had never flown first class before. I get off the plane, and I know this is really hard to believe, but it's honest. It's the truth. Jerry West picked me up at the airport, sitting curbside, which only Jerry West could do, right? Because the cops push everybody else away. But it's Jerry West, right?
That's logo.
Yeah, it's a logo. And he's talking to the guys that would give you a ticket. You know what I mean? And so I walk out the front door, and there's Jerry West in a navy blue Mercedes with tan interior. I had never been in a Mercedes before, let alone being driven by Jerry West.
3 pluses so far. Yeah, I like that 3 pluses so far.
And so we're driving down Century Boulevard, and I'm like, this is kind of surreal. Like I just flew first class, and sitting in a car with Jerry West, and we're driving down Century Boulevard, and we're going to the fabulous Forum, and then we get there, and it's the day that USA basketball is playing Spain for the gold medal in the '84 Olympics.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm in that building. It's electric, man. You know what I mean? It's like, and I think I wrote this in the book that I felt like I was on the magic carpet ride of hoops, Had great convos with Pat Riley and Jerry for, 4, 5, 6 hours. And the last conversation was back with Jerry. And we can talk about that at some point if you'd like. But, when it was over, they said, okay, thanks for coming down. You can walk across the street. You remember that old seedy hotel?
Yeah.
It was the Airport Park Hotel or something.
Hotel.
It was a dump, right?
Fort Burke used to stay all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So they said, you can just walk across the street and there's a shuttle take you back to the airport. Where's the navy blue Mercedes with the tan interior?
Was like, I got you here, and that's it. Huh? Your ass on your own now.
I kind of figured, I thought I had a good interview, but I guess they're not interested. And so I got on the plane, and I went from, like I said, kind of not, like if they said they weren't interested in me, I would have been fine. I was on the road to where I wanted to go.
Right.
In my mind, for the rest of my life. But that's not what happened. A couple of days later, they called me, and they said, we'd like to hire you. And they did. And it's also odd because like the present day people that are watching the NBA don't really understand what it was like for us.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And a good example of that is we had no place to go. There was no practice site. The only place there was the Forum. And we were there maybe 50 nights a year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what does Dr. Buss do with the other 315 nights? He's got hockey, so they're there 50 nights. That's 100. You still got to fill the arena. So it's not like we had a place to go. There was someone, Jerry had an office there, Bill Sharman, Dr. Buss.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know what to do, where to go. So I went there, and I would meet, I think I met Rambis one day. I met Coop one day. But I didn't see, everybody together. So it was just random meetings with players as they strolled in to get their fan mail.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until we went to College of the Desert and that first practice. And you guys were already Showtime. You were a fast break team.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that, everybody watched it on TV. The finals you didn't even see live, right? You had to see it on tape delay.
Right.
So you have that image, But now I'm on the gym floor watching you guys. And one of the things that convinced me to take the job was when I told Pat what I wanted to do, was be in a human performance laboratory, in a training room, in a weight room, not being on a bench taking timeouts and fouls, And he said to me, well, you can do all that, but you can do it with the greatest athletes in the world. Mm. And that was sort of those 12 words, because since then I've counted them,
Sounds like that.
Okay. And then that's when I kind of really wanted the job. And then when I actually saw it, I was like, wow, you guys are running 3-line rush. The ball never touched the floor. Okay. There was like 3 passes.
That's it.
And so, Kareem was in the post and the rebound would come out whether Kareem got it or Rambis or, whoever the 4 or 5 man was. And then there was an outlet pass to Magic, and he's probably coming down the middle of the floor. You got Byron on one wing. You got James Worthy or Jamal Wilkes at the time was still playing. He was starting that year, beginning of the year. These guys are practically running out of bounds. Okay, to go to the sideline.
Yeah, we did.
They'd hit the hash mark, and then they'd start to come towards the basket. And now Magic has basically 3 choices. He can go all the way to the cup himself. He can go to the left to Byron. He can go to the right to Worthy. He's probably going to look left and pass it right, or look right, pass it left. Okay, but he had 3 options. Okay, let's take now. I'm off on a tangent, I know, but let's take the game today. Okay. Let's say the same thing happens. The ball comes off the rim. For starters, and you can correct me on this, there's not a lot of offensive rebounding effort in the game today because the analytics have told them that you're probably not going to get the offensive rebound and you're going to get beat in transition. Mm-hmm. So get back.
Yeah.
So maybe the guy that's on the weak side, he might go look for an offensive rebound, but everybody else, as soon as the shot goes up, they're gone.
Getting back.
Going the other way. Okay. So that didn't occur. So now there's an outlet pass and they're running up the floor. The wings are going to the sideline, but when they get to the hash mark, instead of angling towards the basket to create a passing angle for Steph Curry or whoever's handling that ball, they're going straight to the corners.
Yep.
Okay. It's a completely different deal. Our 4-man was Rambis, AC Green. Luke was in there for 1
Maurice
year.
Lucas, yep.
Okay, Maurice Lucas. I mean, your job was to defend and rebound. Now, the 4-man, I don't think the term stretch 4 existed.
No.
But now it's probably the most important position on the floor. So the least important position has now become the most important position. We called it a power forward.
Power forward, that's right.
Power forward is now a stretch 4 because he stretches the defense. They're usually tall, and they'll bring you out to the 3-point line and kill you from there.
Right.
You treated him in the 80s and 90s, and you touched upon me in the 2000s. But today, he deal with pains with our partner, earththings.com.
Yeah, Gary B, I got this new partner called Earthing, and they are fantastic. They have a mat that I've been laying out, plugging it in, putting my bare feet on this sucker, just like we're sitting here for 45 minutes to an hour, and it just kind of sends these like shock waves through my body, and it feels fantastic. Mm-hmm. I love it.
They use a Q-tip.
No, you asshole. And I'm going to tell you guys what he means by this, too. It's an unbelievable product. Oh, my God. It's an unbelievable product. Earthing, you can also go on earthing.com. They have more than just mats. They have pillow sheets. They have pillowcases. They have bed sheets. Matter of fact, my wife and I put ours on about 4 or 5 days ago. So I'm going to give it a couple of weeks to see how it feels. I'm going to see how it feels. Okay. I'm going to see if it really helps me with inflammation and all that good stuff. But
I love it.
Earthing.com is fantastic. So you guys go online and check them out. Now, I'm going to go back to this real quick.
Okay.
This asshole
That's Mr. Asshole.
Okay, Mr. Asshole here. So Gary V, who is to me by far the best trainer that's ever been in the NBA, there's no doubt about
Hands
it.
down.
We go to Detroit. We're playing in Detroit, and we have practiced that night before because Riles is scared to death of their rebounding ability. So he wanted us at the end of this practice to do a rebounding blockout drill, right? And so unfortunately for me, during that drill, I go up to get a rebound, and David Rivers, who's a rookie, I go over his back. I hear a pop. I come down, hamstring. I'm done, right? So Gary, of course, gets me in his room. He has this big suite. He has all the equipment in there. And he's hitting me with this shock treatment, right? It's this little thing he would put right in the spot, and then he hit a button. That shit would just, And he's doing this for a few days, and I'm just like dying because this shit is painful. So we go back to LA and we see, I think it was Dr. Curlin.
It was Clive, I think.
Clive, right? Yeah. Clive. So Clive says, why I got all these burnt marks on the back of my hand, because I can't see it, right? Yeah. All these burnt marks, like little holes in the back of my hamstring. And Clive says to Gary, did you use a Q-tip? So what I found out is this thing had an open hole where you could put the tip of a Q-tip, right? And then stick it in the water and put it on the spot and then hit the shock. He didn't use a Q-tip, man. He was shocking me.
You were burning his ass.
Burning the shit out my... He was burning the shit out my hamstring. I had all these burnt marks down my hamstring, and he did not feel bad about it one bit.
No, trust me, I've seen him not feel bad about a lot of shit he does.
It was like Dr. Curlin when he would come in with his syringe with a needle, right? And his hand was shaking, and players were like scared to death, and then they look at me like, geez, sure this is okay? Looking for an affirmation, you know what I mean? And before I could answer, Curlin would look at it and go, you want to fuck around or you want to get better? Same thing. Simple as that. Did you want to fuck around or do you want me to get you better? Okay?
Yeah.
All right, Gary.
That was some special times.
I have a question for you. And correct me if I'm wrong. You won 3 rings during Showtime. 3 rings during Kobe Shaq. 2 rings during Black Mamba, Shaq Powell, or Kobe Powell, right?
Kobe Powell, yeah.
So that's, you have 8 rings total. You have?
3.
Okay, I have 5. I had to throw that in there.
Y'all.
Okay, so what era, you as a trainer, was your favorite era?
I would never trade the Showtime era for the other 5 rings. And that's not a knock on that era, And those guys, I mean, Shaq used to get really angry all the time. How can you never wear a ring? I won for you. It's a cuz, right? You know what I mean? I wore 85 for 2 years, and then we won it in 87. Now, if you ask me for a basketball year, even though 87 as a basketball team was magnificent.
Yeah.
I mean, we were really good. You can make an argument that one of the greatest of the teams of all time.
Without a doubt, to me, one of the greatest teams ever.
But the 85 ring, beating the Celtics for the first time, my rookie year, beating the Celtics for the first time on the parquet floor, I have to say that you can't top that. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, you fast forward to 87, okay? We win the championship, and my first daughter is born in August, right after it.
Yeah.
So as a year of my life, to win a championship and then have the most important thing that anybody can have in their life, which is children, okay? I started wearing 87. And I never wore 85 again, and I never wore any of the other 6 rings. Okay?
Hey, Gary,
they're in a vault.
There you go.
In the bank, so don't bother coming to the house because they ain't there.
So you ain't gonna get them there either. Forget about it. But this is the crazy thing. This is the crazy thing when we won in 85. We're in Boston. We win in 85 in the Garden, and we're in the locker room. We're just chilling. We're having a good time. champagne is flowing and everything. And it's his rookie year, right? Because it's my second year, so we lost in '84, right? So Gary says, man, y'all said this shit was hard. This shit ain't that hard. It's my first year and I got a championship,
Let's do it again next year.
Yeah, let's do it again next year. So he thought it was that easy. First year we win a championship like it was nothing, piece of cake.
I learned my lesson next year, though. 86 That's
where everybody was hurt.
No, not that. It's because we didn't sign. I believe. I mean, you can. There's probably a bunch of reasons, but we didn't sign Bob McAdoo. Okay,
Yeah.
Bob McAdoo's option that year was $980,000. That was a lot of money back then. But bringing Bob McAdoo could have started for any team in the league. We're bringing him off the bench. He's 6'10". He could score in the post. He could take you outside. I mean. Plus he had a way about him. Yeah. He had an attitude.
And everybody loved him.
Yeah.
We loved him.
Yes.
He was a great teammate. So that hurt us. There's no doubt about it.
And to this day, the man is loved.
Yeah.
Like you go to our reunion, you go to the Hall of Fame. We were there for Coop.
Yeah.
I mean, you just want to be near him. You want to be around him. You can't wait to hear what's going to come out of his mouth.
Yeah, because he's going to talk some shit.
Yeah.
He can't help it. He'll tell you how many points. Look, he used to tell Kareem, I used to bust your ass, you bald head motherfucker. That's how he would talk to him. I swear to God. I used to give your ass 50. Am I lying, Gary B? That's how he would talk to Kareem. And Cap would just be quiet. Cap wouldn't say much.
You were there. I think Northwest Airlines still existed. Mm-hmm. We're in Detroit. Mm-hmm. We're flying commercial in those days. Mm-hmm. These guys don't understand. Yeah. Okay. We're flying commercial, which means we played the night before. It means you didn't fall asleep till 2 or 3 in the morning. And then you got up at 5 because you had to catch the first flight out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We were out. We played in the Silver Dome out in the boonies. We flew out of Detroit Metro, which was a long bus ride, and I have like 100 pieces of luggage in the snow on the curb.
Yeah.
And I got these players that I got to get on the plane. And in those days, because it was commercial, you're making these reservations like in July. As soon as the schedule came out in July, right? So you're making the reservation. You don't know who's going to be on your team, And it's not like today. There's a name on the boarding pass, but it doesn't have to match who's actually in the seat.
It doesn't really matter.
Yeah. So you got like guys that were on the summer league team that weren't even going to be there. You know what I mean? And so I would write the name on the boarding pass because it wasn't going to match what was printed on it. And I remember it was Josh. I love Josh Roosevelt.
I remember this
Josh.
story.
Josh Roosevelt was our PR guy, and I can't be in 2 places at one time. And I'm really concerned about, all this gear on the curb in Detroit, right? And so I go, Josh, do me a favor. Take these boarding passes, go to the gate. Do not give them out until they step onto the airplane. Because if you give them out while they're seated, somehow they're going to lose them between there and there. Right in mid-stride, that's when you hand them their boarding pass, okay? So he does it, and I get to the gate. He's not looking too good. I go, what's the matter? I think I fucked up. I said, what'd you do? He goes, I think I gave McAdoo Kareem's seat, and Kareem's in McAdoo's seat. Kareem's back there stewing. Don't worry about it. I'll fix it. Okay, because I had a great relationship with both of them, right? I go up to I go, hey, Mac. I said, you got to help me out with this. Okay, Josh was handing out the boarding passes, and he gave you Kareem's seat by mistake, and now Kareem's back there, and I think he's pissed off. I need you to switch seats. Looks at me, staring at me like for a few seconds. Then he looks back at Kareem, and looks back at me. Nah. That big bald-headed motherfucker. He ain't the only one with long legs. I like to stretch out once in a while. Hey? You know what? Ask that big bald head motherfucker when I used to give him numbers. Numbers.
I was there. I remember it.
And he's looking back at Kareem. He wanted Kareem to hear him,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And
yeah.
now, like, he's sucking me into this deal, you know what I mean? Like,
Dude
what am I?
was crazy.
And now, like, no, but now, like, what am I going to do about it?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You know? And I looked back at Kareem and I looked at him and I said, have a nice flight.
Gary.
And then I walked by Kareem because I was like in the back, right?
Yeah.
I said, it'll never happen again. Okay. And that was that.
Yeah.
Hey, a lot of people don't understand, like, you had to do it all back in the day.
Yeah.
He had to schedule the travel, the plane, the bus, the whole 9 years, hotels. You had to do all that
Everything.
stuff. Everything. He was in charge. He was in charge of all of our lives. This story was just told on our podcast a little while ago, and it's been confirmed a couple times, but I want to ask you the story. Shaq on a bus, chickern,
Yeah.
and shit.
It's true.
True.
And shit.
Yeah.
Still got him. He's talking.
So he went in the bathroom to get it and put it in a plastic bag or whatever.
Well, there was a plastic bag like in the liner for the trash can.
Right.
It was already in a plastic bag, and he just pulled it out and tied it up. And he told me he still got him. He's got him in a safe. That's some nasty. Okay, now you got to understand how bad this was.
Oh, that's nasty shit. Right
It was
there.
so bad that we had to ask the bus driver, because we were going to Newark. We played the Knicks the night before, staying in Manhattan, and now we got to fly out of Newark because we couldn't get out that night as a curfew, a flying curfew. And so, the bus smells so bad because it happened before we could get to and the guys, I don't know what they told you, but I don't know if they understood what was happening with the man, but they didn't let him by. Like their legs were in the aisle. He couldn't get by.
Trying to trip him.
And I'm in the first seat.
Yeah. you
Behind
always
the
sit
bus
in the
driver.
front.
So this is all happening behind me. I had no idea what was happening until you smell it, right? Okay. Right?
Yeah, it's gonna be
We
a
had
sticky
to
story
ask
here.
the bus driver to pull the bus over on the side of the road. And then you know those escape hatches that they have like in a bus crash?
Yeah.
How to open those to try to air it out. And then and Rudy was already at the airport because and we had to go find Chick's luggage under the bus to get a change of clothes. So we had we're emptying on the side of the road. We're pulling all these bags out until we find his, and I don't know if you guys probably don't know this, but those types of things are indicative of a hypertensive episode. So,
God dang.
you know what I mean? Like knocking on the door, like, are you alive in there? Are you in there having a heart attack? You know what I mean? And he was, thankfully, But yeah, it's true.
So Gary V, Shaq collected his shit
Yeah.
and kept it as a souvenir.
Yeah.
That's a true story.
Listen, I love him. I love Shaq.
Oh, we all love Diesel.
I absolutely adore him. But you had to be looking over your shoulder all the time. All the time. Like you couldn't leave a toothbrush out or anything like that. He's going to stick it in his crack. You know what I mean? All right. You couldn't eat any food that was out. Everything had to be like, I wouldn't. I mean, if it wasn't hermetically sealed, I didn't eat it if he was around. I've told this story. Since we're going down this road, I've told this story, but I've never told it publicly.
Okay.
And I'm hesitating a little bit.
Don't hesitate. Go ahead, Gary.
You're already on it.
It's pretty
I
nasty.
ain't in it, so go ahead.
It's pretty nasty, okay?
Criminal?
No, it should be. Okay? All right? I knew better, and I made a mistake. I had a lapse of judgment. So I went into the bathroom to urinate. Okay?
This is where at?
At the practice site.
Okay, at the practice site. Okay.
Here, okay? In El Segundo at the time. So I go over to the urinal, and I made the big mistake of not checking to see if he was in the stall. Okay? You know, because he's got those big size 20.
You can't miss him, right?
Yeah,
you can't miss his feet. Yeah.
So I didn't do it. And I'm peeing. Good flow. Everything's good, right? All of a sudden, I hear my name being called behind me. I turn around. He's standing up, 7 feet tall, right?
Yeah.
He's standing up in the stall, and he's holding a piece of toilet paper, okay, after he wiped his butt with it. So I said it about as nicely as I possibly could. So you know what was on the toilet paper, right? So I turned, oh, man, that's disgusting. Look at it. I said, no, I'm not looking at it. I said, look at it. I said, I'm not looking at it. I'm not looking at it, right? I see something out of the corner of my eye. He threw it at me.
Okay, he threw it.
He landed on the floor.
Oh, I was about to say, where did it
He landed on the
land?
floor, okay, by me. Toilet paper with human
Shit on it. Yeah.
Disgusting.
No,
Man.
that's terrible. All right, Gary V, we know some of the nastiest shit that literally has been thrown around here.
Thrown around you, too.
With some of the Shaq stories that we heard that we all know now are true. What are some of the funniest pranks that you've seen in your 30 plus years with the Lakers?
Hands down to me, you were there. The funniest was Vlade. Okay. It's public knowledge, so I'm going to say I wrote it in the book, but I didn't put his name in. But now everybody knows it was Tony Bobbitt. Okay. All right.
Yes.
Because of the longevity and the amount of money that was spent on this, and that so many people were involved with it. So, cut to the chase. We had this kid on our team. His name was Tony Bobbitt.
Yep.
We got Vlade through the draft, and then we traded him to get Kobe.
Yep.
But then he came back.
Yep.
Okay. But he blew out a disc in his back, and he had spinal surgery, and he couldn't play. So he's on the bench in a suit, in street clothes. There's not enough seats on the bench for all the players and the guys that don't dress. And Tony Bobbitt was a rookie. Okay? And so he's in street clothes. So he's sitting behind the bench, but he's sitting behind Vlade, who's 7 feet tall. He can't see anything. On the baseline is this famous actress, Lucy Liu. And Tony Bobbitt's eyeballing Lucy Liu. And somehow, Tony Bobbitt gets in his mind that she's looking back at him. Okay. And so he starts wearing Vlade out. Vlade, timeouts. Vlade, switch seats with me, man. Switch seats with me. That Lucy Liu girl's over there. She's looking at me, man. I can't see behind you. Switch seats with me. Vlade's like, I'm not switching seats with you. He was such a pain in the ass that Vlade eventually, in the second half, said, you want to sit there? All right. Okay. Because it's Lucy Liu thing. Vlade knew about Lucy Liu thing. So he lets him sit there. What he does is Vlade goes to one of the ushers, female usher, okay, and he says, I want you to write a note to Tony Bobbitt and saying that you want to meet him and to reach out to this phone number, okay, and sign it Lucy Liu. But the phone number is Vlade's phone number. Lucy Liu has no idea this is even happening. Okay. And so she does it. So he's walking off the court after the game, and the usher says, hey, Lucy Liu told me to give this to you. Yeah, I went to dinner with Lucy Liu last night.
No, he didn't.
Yeah. And so I think it was Kobe says,
Kobe.
You went, everybody knows, right? You went with Lucy Liu? Yeah, who paid? She paid. I'm a pimp. Okay. And that's when, because I felt bad for the guy, you know what I mean? And actually I started talking to Lamar. I said, Lamar, you gotta go tell him, man. You gotta scar this kid for life, right? Lamar says, I'll take care of it. Until that happened. Okay, Lamar was ready to tell him, And
then he started lying.
And then Lamar was, fuck that motherfucker. And so this thing went on for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, it went on for a minute.
Now it's got to come to a head at some point.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it got to be like ridiculous. And so Vlade sends him a message that I'm sending a limo for you. So now he really thinks that Lucy Liu is actually sending him a limo.
Yeah.
Okay. And Vlade does. He sends a limo to pick up Tony. And there's a camera. So it's filming the whole thing. And so Tony Bobbitt is talking to the driver. And said, yeah, so Lucy Liu sent this limo for me, and he's pulling up, and there's like people in front of the restaurant, and he goes, look, there must be the paparazzi waiting for me, right? I mean, he just keeps digging a bigger and bigger hole. Okay? And he walks, it was up in like Pacific Palisades, the restaurant, right? Mm-hmm. It's a nice place, And they order a bottle of Dom, okay? It's a bottle of Dom Perignon, sitting on the table, and Tony walks in, and like the whole team's there, waiting for him, and he still doesn't get it. He doesn't get it. He thinks Lucy Liu is going to be there,
so he don't understand. He's been pranked right there.
Finally, he just thinks that he told everybody that he was meeting Lucy Liu, so they came and checked it out. And so finally, Kobe.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah. It's got to be Kobe, right?
Of course.
Kobe sits down, literally picks up the bottle of Dom and starts drinking it straight out of the bottle. He goes, so you're waiting for Lucy Liu, huh? Okay. And Tony's still not giving it up. And then finally, Kobe busts him in front of everybody. He says, listen, man, you've been talking to Vlade the whole time. There is no Lucy Liu. She doesn't even know who you are. Okay. No, man, she's coming. The kid. Okay.
Oh, my
God. And then
God.
finally, when she didn't show up, when they convinced him, it was like it was nothing. All he said was, okay, you guys got me.
Yeah.
And that was it.
There's actually a video. There's actually a video
I
out
have
there.
it.
Oh, you have it too?
Yeah.
There's a video out there of them at the restaurant, and there's a hidden camera. And when Kobe busts him,
I got to see that.
When Kobe busts him,
Oh my
God!
You guys are telling a lot of true stories on this podcast, man.
Look, we just being us.
Yeah.
Here's a story about the pants that I confirmed. Who gave that one up?
Cedric Sabalas. But I had heard about it years ago anyway.
Yeah.
I just didn't know if I knew it was
now
true,
it's
but
public, man.
Yeah. Well, hey, Shaq, we love you.
Yeah, we love you, big fella.
we love you, big fella. Gary, let me ask this. Because you've been in this organization for 30 plus years. You done seen so many Laker players, Laker great players, Laker legends. Name the 5 toughest players that you ever been involved with in Laker history.
You're in that category, but you got to put Kobe
number one.
Kobe number one, and the reason why he edges you out, because beyond the hamstring issue, I mean, you had a couple things, but you weren't. I mean, Kobe was pretty beat up by the time that he retired. So he played with a lot of things that you didn't have to.
I mean, he had major surgeries.
Yes.
I didn't have to have surgery.
Exactly. Okay. So, but, I will put you in that category. And then there's sort of like different degrees of toughness, and depending on what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. Like, are we talking about, playing hurt? Are we talking about, I'll beat your ass?
I think kind of both of those.
You are. And so is Kobe.
I think kind of both of those, yeah.
Kobe would fight you.
Yeah. Oh, not a doubt.
You know what I mean?
Without
He didn't care
a doubt.
how big you were.
Yeah, without a doubt.
He squared off with Shaq.
Yeah.
Which is probably not a good idea.
I'm about to say that might have been that kind of showed how crazy Kobe was too a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But he didn't back down.
No, that wasn't his nature.
You know, Kareem's the same thing. You know, he didn't have a lot of injuries, but he wasn't a man that you wanted to anger. You know, I can't tell you, and he was calculating too.
Oh, he get your ass back if
That's
you
right.
did something to
but
him.
maybe he learned his lesson with Kent Benson about losing your temper.
Yeah,
and broke his hand.
Right,
okay?
right.
He was very calculating. I can't tell you how many players, including Mitch Kupchak in practice, ran down the court like this, holding their throat. Because while that skyhook was up here, this elbow was going right in your throat.
Yes, sir.
So if the officials weren't going to protect him, because he was like Shaq, he was fouled on every play.
Yeah.
But you can't call a foul. I mean, there's no flow to the game. You know, you have to. So you got to figure out early on, okay, you know, how are the officials going to call the game? Because it's not going to be called the same way all the time. Okay, it depends on who the official is and, you know, how the flow of the game. So you figure that out, you know, and then if they're not going to protect you, then you have to protect yourself.
Yeah.
And so Kareem's in there. That's 3.
That's 3.
Okay. So Luke was only with us a year.
Mm-hmm.
And he was pretty much, his career was over at that point.
Who?
Maurice Lucas.
Maurice Lucas.
Gotcha.
But you probably got to put him, he wore a Laker jersey, and by reputation alone, I mean, he punched out Darryl Dawkins.
Yeah, he whoop your ass.
Yeah, he wasn't afraid of anybody.
No,
I mean, his nickname was the Enforcer.
The Enforcer, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And I tell you what, Shaq
Yes.
is mean. I mean, it's big and jolly and funny, and like, he was tough. I mean, he wasn't afraid of anybody.
He played through pain. He played through a lot of pain.
Yes, I mean, and I said this on his podcast, that not that he shouldn't have played with the things that he had.
Mm-hmm.
He made some bad decisions about, and he made some comments, you know, that I'm sure today, with age and maturity, if he could go back and do it over, he wouldn't do it that way. Okay. But there's probably at least a couple of things that I should have made a bigger deal about publicly. Meaning, you can play with this, but I probably should have put it out there that, you know, this man is playing hurt. We need to give him credit. You know, I was part of the cause, okay? Because when you're with a team, you know this better than anybody because we were family.
Absolutely.
And you and I still are.
Absolutely.
And all those other people pretty much still are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay? And that's what Pat created, okay? You know, and he had this term called peripheral opponents. He used to say there's 12 plus 2 plus 1.
Yep.
12 players, 2 coaches, and me, the athletic trainer. We're the inner sanctum. Those are the 5 people that are on the floor and the 10 people that are on the bench. Everybody else is a peripheral opponent, and that includes your wife and your kids and all those other people.
That's right.
Because they're a distraction. If you walk in the locker room and you're putting your name on a will call, you're putting your wife's name on a will call envelope, you're distracted, okay? Because you're not thinking about the game. And I get it. It's maniacal. But I think a lot of us were like, I got it, Pat, because I'm crazy too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I want to win.
Yeah, we were like, you know what? That makes
sense.
sense.
You know what I mean? If I need to be here, you know, if you want the trainer to jump off the top of the forum today because you think it's going to help us win, let's go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I knew I would do it because Pat would have jumped first. And that's, I really, I mean, obviously it's hyperbole, but
no, I truly believe
that's
that
the way
too.
it was.
Yeah, I truly believe that.
But a team is like a family. And you may get mad at somebody in your family. You might get angry with your mom or your dad or your brother or your sister. But you don't stop loving them.
Mm-hmm.
Facts.
And that's the difference. And in that era, we stopped loving each other. And when that happened, people started choosing sides.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And so it's easy to blame Kobe. This really bothers me.
Yeah, no, I know it does.
Because we should have won 10 championships.
Mhm.
Okay? It's easy to blame Kobe, and it's easy to blame Shaq. What about the rest of us, including me? There's other players, there's management, there's ownership, coaches. Okay? People chose sides. Okay? People on the team, players chose sides.
Right.
Okay? Coaches chose sides. The fans chose sides. Okay? And it was divisive, and the whole thing crumbled. Okay? And it didn't have to.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I'm as guilty as everyone else, because I think that looking back on it, Shaq was hurt. Doesn't mean he shouldn't have played, there's things that we could do to mitigate some of the things that he had.
Right.
But it doesn't mean he wasn't hurt.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And he said to me when he came up to me, we were, I don't remember how we got there, but it was him making a point. He pulled the hair on my arm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it hurts, right?
Yeah.
Pulls it hard and goes, "That hurt?" I said, "Yeah, that hurt." He goes, "Yeah, that hurts me too when somebody pulls my hair."
Mm.
Meaning, yeah, I'm big, I'm strong, but
I get hurt too.
I get hurt too.
I'm human.
You know what I mean?
I'm human.
And,
I'm human.
And his, especially the thing with the big toe,
Mm-hmm.
Anybody that has that joint, that first joint where that the metatarsal comes out and meets your big toe,
Mm-hmm.
that's where you toe off. Well, he was 350 something pounds. Now he had a big toe and a big metatarsal, but still.
It's a lot of weight.
Anybody, and we put a plate in there trying to offload it. I mean, you do things to help. But, God bless him. I love him. He knows, that I wish that I had done more in that regard, but I mean, he could be polarizing too.
You were the trainer with this young man that played his whole career, Kobe. When did you realize he was going to be an all-time great?
Interesting question, because I didn't see it. I really didn't. Everybody, like Jerry West, saw it.
Yeah.
We traded Vlade Divac for Kobe.
Mm-hmm.
You understand that trade? I mean, he's a legit 7-foot guy
That could play.
with huge hands.
Bloody could play.
Okay, if he touched the ball, he owned it. Great footwork, smart. Okay, I love when he played defense on Shaq. Do you know? You probably, I don't know if you know this, but okay, when Shaq would get him in the post, I mean, he'd destroy him, right?
Right.
But so the only thing Vlade could do was he invented the flop.
Yeah.
But do you know that he used to actually whisper in Shaq's ear? So the first possession that Shaq would get in the post, right before the ball went into Shaq, he'd say, "You ready to get 2 quick fouls?" Which is Vlade playing with his mind.
Yeah, Vlade was smart, man.
So now, does Shaq still try to barrel through him?
Right.
Or maybe he tries to fade away, which maybe helps Vlade defend him a little bit. That's how, you know what I mean? Like he had other game besides just, you know what I mean? There's nuances to the game, So for me, giving away a legit 7-footer, which is hard to come by for a 17-year-old kid,
Yeah.
And I truly remember, and he was stubborn. Kobe was stubborn. And Kobe was one of those guys that had a lot of postural dysfunctional movement patterns because of the type of training and the amount of basketball that he played, and as hard as he trained. I mean, he just kept doing the same things over and over. By the time we got him at 17, to the time he retired, he was all out of whack. And he got better at it because he started to realize I need to start to change some of these things, and that's where people like Judy Cito came in, and Alex McKechnie was very influential in how we changed a lot of our training back in those days, and in terms of core and pelvic dysfunction and that kind of thing. But I guess it had to be for sure when we played Indiana in the finals.
Yeah.
And Kobe had sprained his ankle, I think, in game 2, right?
Yeah.
So it was 2-3-2 in those days. So he sprains his ankle in game 2 severely. We fly to Indianapolis after the game, which was a good thing, okay, because it put him and I together the whole time. So what we try to do at that point is to try to control the inflammatory process. Now, you're going to hear a lot of things today in physical therapy, athletic training, orthopedic medicine, especially with stem cells and things, that we want the inflammatory process because that triggers the healing process. Yes, that's true. But we want to control the inflammatory process, which means in this instance that you don't want this big swollen ankle, okay? Because your body's not going to lay down new cells, what we call fibroblastic development, until it cleans out all that dead stuff, and the swelling and everything. So you're trying to control that swelling, which takes. It's painful, and it takes a lot of compression. It takes a lot of physical manual therapy of flushing it out. So I have to be there with him doing this stuff with my hands actually on him. And so that whole flight, which we're now also battling, air pressure, okay, which also makes it want to swell. Okay. And then when we got to the hotel, I switched rooms. So we were in adjoining rooms. You wake up 3 or 4 in the morning, your ankle throbbing because I have this tight compression wrap on it. Okay. You got to wake me up. Okay. You got to wake me up. We're going to cut the wrap off. We're going to stick your foot in an ice bucket. Okay. We're going to cool it off. And then as soon as, I take you out of that, then I'm going to flush it out with my hands. We're going to wrap you up again. And hopefully you get another couple hours of sleep. Okay. And so I believe he didn't play game 3.
Yeah, he didn't play that one.
And so after game 3, we're practicing between games 3 and 4. And so we're at the arena and my hands are on him. And now I'm not doing flushing, but I'm doing what we call mobilization. So literally moving bones around. When I say moving, I mean, it's not like we're dislocating bones, but we're trying to create motion. Okay. We don't want an unstable joint, but we want mobility, okay? Because we don't want these bones like stuck together. And so I'm moving, and all of a sudden it's like, we hear this like pop. He kind of looks at me, and I felt it when it happened, and I looked at him, and it was what we call a cuboid mob. And I go, this is either going to be really good or really bad. Right? And he hops off the table, and he's barefoot, right? And he's walking around, and he looked over at me and goes, "You did it. I can play." Okay. And the next day he played.
Yeah.
And we beat him in 6 games. And I mean, they were good. I mean, now of course Shaq was
dominant.
He was dominant. I mean, and this is going back to like when we were talking about Shaq and throwing stones at him and stuff, as much as we love him. If Shaq wanted to win every single game,
there's nothing you could do about it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they would have had to foul him out of the game as the only thing they could do. You know what I mean? The officials would have to be complicit. You know,
Yeah.
if Shaq wanted every single rebound, you would not have gotten one. It's literally, Brad Miller.
Very well.
Yeah.
It's a big man, right?
Yeah, Shaq almost killed him too.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. Yes.
If he would have connected, he would have killed him.
So there's a sort of thing in the league that you may not have ever met a player on another team, but they know who you are. You know who they are.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, because we're a part of the NBA family.
Right.
At that point, right? So there were times where I might have to go to the scores table to check on something. I might have missed a foul or something, or a correction. Brad Miller was checking in a game. I don't remember if it was Chicago or Sacramento, wherever he was. And so he's at the scores table trying to get in the game. I'm at the scores table checking on something, and he's huge, right? He's a big man.
Yeah, yeah.
And he looks down at me and he goes, "Gee." Look up. "Yeah, Brad. Tell me the truth. He's 400 pounds." I said, he's not, Brad. I think he's like 352 today or something like that. He goes, "Nah, it's bullshit." He goes, "He's got to be 400. He goes, "I am trying with every ounce of strength. I can't move him." Okay. And Brad Miller was probably one of the biggest, strongest guys in the league at the time.
At the time, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And he couldn't move him.
Yeah.
No, couldn't move him, couldn't budge him. And I used to get in front. Yeah, and this is when sometimes every once in a while the athletic trainer takes off his athletic training hat and he steps into the basketball place, which is really no business for us. I mean, I don't know an X from an O, but I would say to him, because you're playing injured and stuff, let's try to play smart. And that's one thing about Kobe. I tell these stories about Kobe. If you're looking at Kobe Bryant through my eyes, and the question he asked me about when did I realize?
Yeah.
Because with my eyes, there was nothing really that special about Kobe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Was he 6'6", 6'7"?
Yeah.
So was he big compared to me? Yeah. Was he big compared to NBA standards? No.
Mm-hmm.
Was he strong? Yeah. Was he strong? No. Okay. Was he quick? Yeah. Could he jump? Yeah. Did he have like a 42-inch vertical? No. There weren't any. I mean, he was gifted, talented guy, but there's a lot of guys that were just like him.
Right.
Why does he have 5 rings? And other guys that were infinitely more gifted don't have any. And there are things. And one of those things was he not only played hard, he not only worked hard, he worked smart. A lot of people work hard. There was no extraneous movements with him. Yeah, it was almost like choreographed, his practices, his workouts. He knew what he wanted to do, and he had several options. And you know this better than I do. He probably had 4 moves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and it depended on which one you took away.
One, yeah, about to say which one you tried to take away.
Yeah, I mean, unless he got really stubborn on something, and he just wanted to prove to you that if he really, really wanted to, but that took up a lot of energy. Okay, so why go to something that you're trying to take away? He would just go to something else.
Yeah.
So if you took this away, he went to that. If you took that away, he went to that. And so I was trying to talk to Shaq about this. Why don't you do all of your work before you get the ball? Okay, go down and take the block. Okay, and then they'll throw it to you, and then you score. Okay, but no. Okay, you want to post up away from the block. Okay, with your back to the basket. And show everybody your cat-like reflexes because you're 7 foot and you are cat-like and you want to spin and you want to be Hakeem Olajuwon, and fadeaway baseline. That's not you, man, But the game was boring to him. If he went down, took the block, he gave it to him, he turned around and
easily put it
scored.
up.
It was too easy.
Jump hook or dunked or drop step dunk. Or
drop step,
he made the game harder than it needed to be, And it's one of the things about about greatness, that really great, and this I think goes across the board for life in many ways. Okay? People that are really great at stuff make it look easy. It's not.
Right.
They make it look easy.
Right.
Okay. So you got some people that make easy things hard.
Yeah.
Okay. It doesn't have to be that hard,
that's true.
man.
That's
you know
true.
what I mean?
That's true.
And then you got people that make hard things look easy. You know what I mean? And most people that are somewhat successful, that's probably the best way to say it, are somewhere in between, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You try to figure it out.
Give me the transition from your perspective, because you did this for so many years, when you first started as a trainer to how training is done now today. And you've only been retired for 9 years, so you got a chance to witness how it was when you first started compared to how it was when you left.
You just heard me when you gave me the mic. You sure you want to go down this rabbit hole with me? Because you're not going to get another word in for a while.
Gary B, do us a favor.
Okay.
We do want to ask you some questions.
We do have a few questions.
So give us the short version so we can ask you some questions.
Right, well, let's put it this way. When Kobe retired in 2016, I can make an argument. You were the head coach.
Yes.
I can make an argument that he was the best player with his back to the basket in the league at the time. He would not be able to play the game the way he played it in 2016. And that was just 9 years ago.
You mean he wouldn't be able to play today like he played then?
Yes.
But we both know that he would adapt anyway.
Exactly. Yeah. No.
And
I'm
he
saying
still
the
would
way
dominate.
the way he played it, he would have killed you a different way.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
But he would have killed you.
Yeah.
Okay. He would have figured it out.
Yeah.
Okay. He would have figured it out before they figured it out.
Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
That was Kobe.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and this a lot of what you're talking about with the way the training is and the running and how the game is played has a lot to do with why are there so many injuries, because I'm getting those calls all the time. So, like I said, I'll try not to go all the way down the rabbit hole, but let's just talk a few things about what we do know. Okay. What we hear a lot is too many games, too much basketball at a young age. And that is absolutely true, but maybe not explained the way it should be explained. So what we do know about the human body, and this is well documented in the research, is that repetitive movement causes compensation, and the compensation causes dysfunction. In terms of basketball, the game is played between here and here, what we call the core. I'm going to ask you a question. Who's a player that you know that played over 20 years that was doing core work before we even talked about core and never got hurt?
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
That's right. He was doing yoga.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And he started talking to me. He didn't use the word core. He just said the game's played between here. And I started listening to him. Okay? And he's right. Okay? Now, we may not have known what we know today about what he was doing, but when you look back on it, the man was a pioneer. Okay? I mean, he sprained his ankle, he broke his hand, but the guy never pulled a muscle or anything like that.
You're right.
So the game is so much faster and so much more powerful. Where is all that coming from? It's coming from their hips. It's all about the hips. So these hip flexors get really, really tight. They start to rotate your pelvis forward. That starts to really pull on your hamstring, because your hamstring attaches underneath your pelvis and then crosses your knee joint. It shuts off the neural drive to your glute. So now, because your glute shut off, your hamstring's doing more work. That becomes prone. Your adductor muscles, which are your groin muscles, they attach underneath your pelvis. So they're working harder. Okay? So now, if you don't have a strong core, all this trying to it's all about generating force from your lower extremity through your pelvis to your upper extremity. And we call that the kinetic chain. So if you hit a link in the chain that can't handle the load, okay, that's where it's going to fail. And it starts at the heel strike. So it could be your Achilles tendon. It could be your plantar fascia in your foot. It could be your Achilles tendon. It could be your calf. Okay. It could be your hip. It could be your back. It could be your neck. Okay. It goes all the way up kinetic chain. So going back to what we said about playing too much basketball, when we were kids, and I was a kid before you were a kid, but you experienced this.
Really?
Yeah, I'm older than you. I think when I came in, there was Kareem, McAdoo, and Jamal Wilkes were the only three guys older than me. Everybody else was younger than me. And then by the time I graduated, I could have been these kids' grandfathers. Okay? That was Kobe's joke with me, is that I watched him grow up and he watched me grow old. I had him 20 years.
Yeah,
Facts.
true.
I got him at 17.
Facts.
Yeah.
Okay. So these kids, when we were young, going back to this, we played, especially if you were from the East Coast or cold, Midwest, anywhere where there was cold weather, you played football in the fall. Then it got too cold, so you went inside and played basketball. Then it warmed up in the spring, and you went back outside and played baseball. As a result, you were a three-sport athlete. What were you doing? You were cross-training. The word didn't exist.
Right.
We didn't know that's what we were doing, but that's what we were doing. So you weren't doing the repetitive motion over and over. So now you're 7 years old. You might be good in several sports, but you really are shining in one sport, whatever it is. Doesn't necessarily have to be basketball, because we're not the only sport that people are getting hurt in doing the same thing. You're doing the same thing over and over and over again at 7 years old. So by the time I get you, you've developed these postural and movement dysfunctional patterns that it's almost impossible for us to get you out of it completely. We can get you out of it for a period of time. Once again, we'll release the hip flexor, stretch the hip flexor, stretch the hamstring, activate the glute. Now we have you in pelvic neutral. Now we're going to put you out on the court. Now what we're looking at as your movement is your movement efficiency. Okay? How well are you moving through space in an uncontrolled manner? Because when we're doing it in the gym, we're doing it in the performance laboratory with force plates and all that, it's still controlled. But now you're on the court and there's somebody in front of you. I laugh when I see some of these drills where you take a basketball and you dribble a ball. They're looking for peak acceleration. So you're dribbling a ball in a straight line, 90 feet from baseline to baseline. When have you ever done that in a basketball game?
There's no straight line in basketball.
It's all about diagonal movements, which now let's go to something else that we do know. Okay? I've already told you some stuff. You're with me so far, right?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay.
I hope our audience is with you.
Okay. I don't know if I can make it.
Well, put it this way. All of you out there that want to be trainers, this should be something that you really pay attention to. Because he's really breaking it down on some of the main reasons that we're having some of the injuries that we're having in the NBA today.
Okay, so make sure you save this.
Here's some of the kickers, okay? I just mentioned peak acceleration. There's been a trend for a long, long time, bigger, faster, stronger. And they have achieved it. These guys are flying up and down the floor. They are strong. When you look at them, they are specimens.
Yeah, no, I agree.
When you watch them run, they can fly. Yeah. But what we're not looking at as a whole, I mean, I'm sure some people are, but I'm out of it, okay? But what is their movement efficiency? I already know they can run fast.
Right.
I already know that they're the fastest, strongest basketball players in the world. How are they carrying their center of gravity as they're moving through space in an uncontrolled manner? And here's where the rubber really meets the road. Something else that we know, the two things the body doesn't like, is slowing down and turning, torque. If you were accelerating continuously, you just ran as fast as you could in a straight line, probably never going to get hurt. It's when you try to slow down. When you look at Michael Jordan flying down the floor, taking off at the free throw line, we were mesmerized. I feel like I can fly. And before him, Dr. J, right? Trust me when I tell you, it looks like they are accelerating all the way through that moment that they leave the floor. They didn't. Right before they jumped, they were slowing down. You might not be able to see it with a naked eye, but with high-speed cameras and sensors, we can see that.
Right.
So when you're trying to slow down, these muscles are lengthening under great tension, more tension than when the muscles are shortening when you're running in a straight line. They're shortening, okay? Now they're lengthening under great tension. And if they can't handle the load, wherever that load is at that moment, if that link in the kinetic chain can't handle the load, it's going to fail. And that's where you're going to get hurt, right? And it's kind of that simple. Now you add in the turning, torque, twisting, okay? Now you're really putting yourself in harm's way because that's how we tear ACLs. Okay? That's how we tear meniscus in your knee. You don't tear a meniscus by running in a straight line. You tear it when you plant your foot and turn. Okay? And so yes, it is about playing too much basketball, but probably not so much as playing so much and not having recovery time. It's playing so much that you've developed these postural and movement dysfunctional patterns, okay? So that your movement efficiency isn't good. We get you out of it, we get you in neutral, you start the game, you're doing pretty well. Now you're starting to fatigue. Once you do, you go back into that default pattern. You'll see the guys at the free throw line holding their shorts. Okay,
Tired.
Yes, because they don't have the core strength, okay, to keep themselves, okay, their center of gravity. Okay, now I should get a T-shirt. Okay, so you should have coined the phrase 3 repeat. Riles stole that from you. He shortened it to 3P. Okay, you lost a lot of money on that one. Okay, but you stole.
Why you want to bring that up?
You stole enough money other places, made up for it. But,
So you talking about it came out even?
but listen to this. We call it core strength because it sounds good.
Right.
Strength is your ability to generate force. Power is how fast can you generate it. Endurance is how long can you generate it. We really should call it core endurance because the longer you can control your center of gravity with your core, the least likely you'll get hurt as you're moving through space in these uncontrolled manners. That's why all these people that, for whatever their reasons are, sitting in front of desk or playing golf, too much tennis, too much swimming, whatever the cause of their pain is, they take up yoga, they take up Pilates, and it counters all the dysfunctional patterns that you've created over time.
Yeah, we're gonna get you out of here on this. We have some rapid fire.
I'm going good, man.
Rapid fire question brought to you by Drew Estate Cigars, Byron Scott's favorite cigar.
Yes, love them to death. Drew Estate got the best stogies around, guys. And believe me, I know. I smoke a lot of cigars, especially on the golf course and in my backyard. And I was smoking one of their most popular cigars and didn't even know it was from Drew Estate. So I smoke them on a daily basis. If you guys want them, go to Drew Estates. They got the best cigars around. Believe me. Trust me. Trust your boy B. Scott. Check him out.
So, Gary, this is rapid fire. So we're going to ask you a question. You can give us one quick answer if you want to elaborate. I know you like to elaborate on everything, but,
It's my nature.
yeah. We're looking for quick answers so we can move on.
I understand. Yeah. I don't know if I'm capable, but I understand. I know what you want. I don't know if you want to get it, but.
I'll ask the first one.
Okay, go ahead.
Most underrated player you ever worked with?
Maybe you.
That's a tough one.
Byron?
Maybe you.
Oh, okay.
Which, by the way, going back to that tough thing, got to throw Coop in there.
Yes.
Coop is honorable mention.
20 plus shots and damn.
And you underrated because you played out of position defensively all the time because Magic couldn't guard
The point
Isaiah
guard.
Thomas, point guard. So you had to do that. You were a 2-guard.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So very underrated in that way, in my opinion.
Thank you, B.
Strangest injury you ever had to treat?
I can't tell you that. I know what it is, but I can't tell you. I didn't. By the way, I didn't treat it.
So what doctor did?
Actually, Dr. Lombardo was standing right there, and he says, "You got it." And I said, "No." I said, "You're the doctor."
Okay, we can only imagine, ladies and gentlemen. All right, one of the funniest moments in the training room.
Maybe Mel McCants.
Oh man. Okay,
that's pretty good, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's pretty
Bark
good.
like a dog.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I know that story.
That's pretty good. All right.
What was your favorite championship celebration out of all of them?
85.
85.
But can we change it from one of the funniest moments from the training room to the court?
Yes.
Okay, so then I won't mention the name unless you put a lot of pressure on me, since we're throwing everybody under the bus today. Okay, so no, it's Sedale 3. Okay? so this cracks me up to this day. So Sedale's out on the floor, he gets hurt, and he's like writhing in pain, and then anybody in the medical field, in orthopedics, athletic training, physical therapy, if you actually see what happens, you have a pretty good idea of what it is.
Right.
But if you don't see it, then you have to get what we call a history. You know where I'm going?
Yeah.
You got to get a history, okay? So Sedale, and you only got 20 seconds to figure out what's wrong with him and what you're going to do about it, okay? And he gets hurt on the other side of the court, so you got to get to him. So the seconds are ticking off, and so I get to him. I had my head down. I was writing something on Riley's one of the charts, and get to him. I didn't see it, so I said, Sedale, he's writhing in pain. I go, where'd you get hurt? He goes, over there. And so I'm trying not to laugh because you got 20,000 people in the arena and people are watching on TV. And you're like, what kind of asshole trainer is laughing at this guy, his injuries, So I'm trying not to laugh. I said, no, man. Where on your body did you get hurt? Seconds are ticking off, right? And he's trying to get a hold of himself, and the only thing he can say to me is, G, Gary, right? G, my shit be broke. So now I still don't know what's wrong with him, and I don't know what to ask him next. So I come up with, all right, just to get a clue, right? Is it your left shit or your right shit? Okay. And all he can say is left. So all I know, it's on this side of his body. I said, come on, you coming with me. All right. At that point, we had a full timeout, and I pulled him out of the game. I don't even remember what was wrong with him. But that moment, come on, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Over there. So before you ask the next question, favorite city to visit on road trips?
Well, home was New York.
New York.
Okay, love New York City, love Chicago. But home was New York City. Love the vibe in New York. It's not the same place anymore, but but love New York.
Last one, Gary V. And I want you to, explain the title because Gary Vitti did a book, 32 years on the bench or something like that. Say that.
32 years of titles and tears from the best seat in the house. And then the subtitle is what I learned about happiness, greatness, and leadership. And the book isn't about me. It's a book about what I learned from the great legends that I work with, including you.
There's a part in the book that Gary V called me about. And he said, B, can I use when you brought me a gun to the locker room during the riots? I want to put that in my book. I was like, hell yeah, Gary, I'm your boy. Put whatever you on in there, right? And so he put that in the book. So I wanted, you to let the people know, number one, the book is a great read. That part alone of me. But see, again, we go back to family because at that time, you remember when the riots broke out, we had a game that night.
Yeah, I was there.
Against Portland, right?
Yeah.
We win that game. We get in the locker room. Everybody told us, hey, you better go a different way home because the riot broke out because of the Rodney King thing that was going on. And you had literally brothers pulling out people out their car, beating them because they wasn't black people, right?
Reginald Denny.
Reginald Denny, exactly. With the, which was crazy. So the next day I come to practice and I said, Gary V, I got something for you, bro. I want, just want to make sure that, you get home safe from this point on. If anything happens, I pull out, put on his desk. It's a Beretta 9mm. And Gary said, fuck I'm gonna do with that? I said, you point and shoot. If somebody try to grab you or try to harm you, man, point and shoot, right? And so that was my way of, taking care of my brother just in case something happened.
It's a wake-up call.
Yeah.
It's a wake-up call
Big
because in my naivety, I think I didn't picture myself as a white guy driving through Inglewood.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it was
Magic told me
it was normal.
You ain't white. You
ain't white. You're Italian.
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah,
That's what we used to say. You ain't white. You're Italian.
And it's not that I thought it through. It's just that I thought that this is Inglewood's home for me. I'm good. And there's a little bit of history. First of all, the name of the chapter is Gangsta.
Yeah.
Okay? So I sent it to him, make sure that he was good with the title and everything that I put in it. But this guy here had a relationship with the Bloods and the Crips.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He bridged that gap. And he actually, I don't remember if it was a Blood or a Crip, but he brought several of them to me. Okay.
I did, yeah.
Okay.
I did.
And then he brought me to the gun range. The first time I ever fired a gun was with him.
I'm trying to get him straight, just in case, right?
First time I ever fired a gun was with him. Okay? So there was some history to, and then he brings one and I'm like, you think I really need that? You know what I mean? Because I didn't, and he's from Inglewood. And the flashpoint of the riots was
just literally
Normandy, Florence and Normandy, not very far from us.
Blocks.
Okay?
Just a couple blocks.
Yeah. And he said to me, your words were, did you see what they did to Reginald Denny?
Yeah.
I said, yeah. He goes, well, you ain't going to be Reginald Denny. You take this.
You point and shoot. That's why it's point and pull the trigger if somebody tried to fuck with you.
Now, to say that I was completely oblivious to fear, that's not true. I understood that I was driving through Inglewood through the riots, but then you put a whole nother level of fear in my ass, man.
Listen, we had another incident, as Gary just said, where I brought Crips and Bloods to the locker room, to games, to summer leagues and everything, because I was trying to help them at that time bridge the gap of killing each other. We wanted to put a stop to them killing each other. So the one guy that he's talking about was the head of the Crips, Bogart. And Bogart had a bulletproof vest everywhere he went. And I bring him in the locker room, and Bogart had been shot up his whole complete right side for them trying to assassinate him at his house. And so I bring him to Gary B. I said, Gary, you take a look at Bogart and see if there's anything you can do for him. And he takes his shirt off and he takes the bulletproof vest off and shit. And Gary goes, fuck I'm supposed to do with that? He is all shot up down here and shit. I was like,
he walked with a gimp.
yeah. Oh,
He had
no,
a
because
limp.
he got fucked up.
Yeah, he walked
Yeah,
with
he
a
got fucked
limp,
up.
right? And so B said, "Can you take a look at him and see?" I said, "Okay, what you got?" So before he took the shirt off, because there's a segue that got to that point, he lifts his pant leg up,
Oh, yeah.
and his lower leg was like he got it caught in a wood chipper. I mean, it was all mangled
Yeah,
up,
yeah.
and he walked with a limp, and I'm like, why are you bringing this to me, man? You know, and I'm an athletic trainer. You know what I mean? This is beyond my scope, right? So I said, what happened to you? Oh, I got shot with an AK-47.
Yeah.
So I said, really? I never met anybody that was shot with an AK-47. So I said, listen, brother, I said, that's kind of beyond my scope. I've never met anybody that has been shot with a high velocity. I never seen a high velocity gunshot wound. He goes, no. Okay. Then he pulled up his shirt.
When he pulled his shirt up.
And then the other two guys said, yeah, check out mine.
Oh, yeah.
And they were all pulling their shirt.
Yeah.
Everybody had bullet holes.
Yeah.
Wow,
I
that's
had
crazy.
T-Bone there and
That's
another
insane.
I think
guy.
one or two of them still had the bullets.
Yeah.
They had, they didn't have them taken out.
Yeah.
Wow,
They
that's
couldn't
crazy.
get to them or whatever.
All right, Gary. Last question. This one's for me, and it's more of me apologizing to you. But I want to see where your head is because I never asked you this question. So we're in Philadelphia, and we won the championship.
I know where we're going. It's got to do with your eyeball.
Yeah, Shaq split open my eyeball.
Yeah.
So Shaq did it. He dropped the champagne bottle right on my eye. I'm bleeding profusely. Number one, thank you for taking care of me. I apologize for ruining your celebration that night. How pissed off were you at me?
I wasn't pissed off at you.
No?
I was pissed off at a certain doctor.
Yes, that
Okay,
doctor screwed
that
me
glued
up.
your eye shut.
Glued my eye shut.
Okay. So once again, 20-second timeout. All right. When I came in the league, you had a wound like that. First off, you played bleeding.
Yeah.
Until
Back then,
eventually it was a
Until it was a
timeout,
timeout,
and then
yep.
we took you back and we sued you up.
Yep.
And, after your sutures, you came back and played.
Yeah.
But then there was the invention of Dermabond, which was a sterile glue. So for lack of a better way to put it, it's super glue, but it's sterile.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And it comes almost like in a super glue tube. And it was pretty new at the time, but I had used it a bunch of times, and all the times that I used it was on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Which means, and it was a facial injury, which means the player is vertical, not horizontal, right?
Right.
And, you put a gauze pad, usually those wounds are generally here because this is a very sharp bone. And, you put a gauze pad underneath it and then you just like super glue, you try to, what they call approximate it. You try to get the edges of the wound really tight, and it's really good if you have somebody to help you because you're holding the wound shut and then you got the glue in this hand. But if you can get somebody else with like a cotton tip applicator that the blood's still seeping, if they could wipe away the blood and then you immediately follow them with the glue before it seeps more blood, you can get a really tight seal. But this guy, the doctor, and we're not going to say who it is, even though we threw everybody else under the bus. We're not throwing this guy under.
Is he still around?
He's
not practicing no more.
He's retired.
He's not practicing then, right?
He doesn't.
Throw his ass under the bus.
No.
Throw his ass under the bus.
He's done a lot of great things medically.
Was he with the Laker team? Was he one of our doctors?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought I was about to say if he was a Philly doctor.
No. So Jason's laying down on the treatment table. Good eye on the table, bad eye here. And so it appeared to me while he took the glue away from me. Like, I got this. He should have just let me do it because I had done a million of them.
Right.
Okay? Not a million, but you know what I mean. And the way he did it, glue gushed out and it ran down his eyelid.
Oh, God.
And then literally glued his eye shut.
Completely.
You were like this, basically.
Completely.
Couldn't see shit out
No,
of it.
couldn't open.
You're right. Couldn't
even open my eyeball.
Now, when I tell you this is super glue, he glued his eye shut, which means we couldn't
He couldn't
get
open his
it
eye.
open.
Yeah.
All right. So now we have the eye doctor
Yeah.
from the other team. Okay. The game is over. Celebrations on. Anybody that would have needed to see a doctor has already seen the doctors. So this eye doctor had been drinking.
Oh, shit. This gets better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't even know if you know that.
No, I didn't know
But
that.
he came in, he was pretty tipsy. And he never saw anything like this. Somebody whose eye is glued shut. So his solution was to get a pair of cuticle scissors,
And cut
these
it.
little tiny scissors, and cut off all your eyelashes.
Yep. They did.
Which did nothing.
I'm about to say, how's that going to open up your eye?
Okay. And eventually,
Yeah, he was fucked up.
what occurred to me was one of the things, and this may be good for your audience someday, one of the things that gets adhesives off, like de-adhesive, okay, is oil. Like baby oil, any kind of an oil.
Oh.
And eventually it occurred to me to use some oil. We finally got your eye open. But yeah, you didn't screw up my celebration, but it got screwed up.
I felt bad.
Okay.
We were the only two Lakers that didn't celebrate that night.
Yeah, but Shaq is the one that whacked you.
Shaq is the one that
He
whacked
knocked
me.
the shit out of
my
you
God.
too, man.
Well, y'all got rings, though, so don't
Yeah,
worry
we
about
got
it.
rings. All right, thank you, Gary,
And
for coming
money.
And money. That's right. I forgot
They
about
got
that
money.
part.
I didn't get money.
You got some money. Well, boys got some.
Yeah, got a little bit.
Team attendance.
Team attendant.
Team
There you go.
attendant.
Thank you for coming on to the Byron Scott's Fast Break podcast.
a lot of
Gary
fun.
Vitti,
Gary
trainer,
Vitti, yes.
Los Angeles Lakers for many, many years.
Eight-time champion.
Yeah, eight of them.
Thanks to you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you for watching Byron Scott's Fast Break. If you like what you saw, here's some more videos. And while you're at it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.